In this video, I'm going to take you through an overview of long-term disability in Saskatchewan. I've broken the video down into 3 parts. The first part, I'll cover briefly some background information, the basics about long-term disability. The second part, I'm going to talk about the sources and types of long-term disability benefits available in Saskatchewan. And third, I'll go through a simple process you can follow to apply for any of these long-term disability benefits. Now, after watching this video, my intent is that you will have a basic understanding, you'll know what benefits are out there, and you'll know the general process to apply for these benefits. Let's dive in. So let's start with an overview of some of the basics of long-term disability benefits. I'm going to cover 4 things. I'm going to start by talking about what is long-term disability. Then I'll take you through how does it work. We'll go over what medical conditions qualify for long-term disability. And finally, we'll end with a discussion of own occupation versus any occupation in long-term disability. So what is long-term disability? It is quite simply a financial benefit paid to people who become unable to work because of a medical condition, illness, or disability. These benefits are typically paid monthly and will be usually between 60 to 80% of your normal pre-disability income, although it can be less with some of the government programs. These payments will typically last to age 65, and the payments are going to come from insurance companies who have insurance policies that you're a part of or government programs for which you might qualify. So how does it work? In all these cases, the long-term disability works on an application approval type system. So it's not a situation where you can kind of phone in and people will review all the types of things you might qualify for and they'll look into it for you. You have to take initiative to do it yourself and look at each program. You have to seek out and find each program and apply to it through sending application forms to that specific program. And once you do, the program assigns a person who reviews your situation to see if you meet the criteria for the program. And if you do, then they will approve you for benefits. If they feel you don't, they will not approve you. But there are some opportunities then for you to challenge that decision to try to get it overturned. Now, what medical conditions qualify? People, I find, tend to focus on the medical condition a little too much in this situation. It's not that if you get a certain medical condition, then you can get the benefits. That's not how it works. How it works is they will look at what are the impairments and disability and limitations that come from your medical condition. In fact, I've had cases where we have been able to get people approved for disability benefits, even though there was no formal diagnosis. The approval was just based on credible restrictions and limitations that the person had. So don't focus too much on the medical condition. This is something doctors will sometimes do, and the insurance company's not as interested in that. They are interested, but they're more interested in having describe the restrictions and limitations related to your specific situation. A good example would be multiple sclerosis. Everyone agrees that that is a disabling condition, and you might have your own mind what the restrictions and limitations of that condition are, but you would be wrong. Unless you know someone with multiple sclerosis, you will know that there's a whole range of how impaired someone can be, from being totally confined into a wheelchair to being quite able and continuing to work for many years. So again, it's not the medical condition does not really tell them what your level of disability is. There has to be an individualized assessment of what your restrictions and limitations, and those are the things that need to be communicated when you're applying for these benefits. Now, lastly, I want to just cover own occupation and any occupation. These are important terms that you will see come up when you're applying for any type of disability, long-term disability benefit. It's important to know that long-term disability benefits are approved based on a disability criteria. So it means that you must have a certain level of disability in order to qualify for the benefits. This level of disability is typically defined as your inability to work. And there are 2 ways that they look at it. In some cases, they define disability as your inability to do your own job. And as long as you can't do your own job, you meet the definition of disability and could qualify for benefits. However, in other cases, they will define disability as your inability to do any job, any occupation. In that situation, being unable to do your own job is not enough proof. You'd have to prove you can't do any other quote-unquote easier work. So whenever you're applying for benefits, you need to be clear, what is the standard of disability that you're looking at? Is it an own occupation standard or is it an any occupation standard? Common problem we see is doctors will say this person cannot do their job and they will just leave it at that. Their disability in the insurance or the government program will rightly point out that while this program is based on any occupation, so the fact that you're saying they can't do their own job does not rule out other types of work. So that can lead to a denial and delays. So if you know you're in an any occupation standard, you have to make sure your doctor addresses that when they give their report and submissions to the insurance company. Let's turn now in part 2 to sources and types of long-term disability benefits in Saskatchewan. Now, there are 3 main sources. Source number 1 is going to be insurance companies that offer insurance policies in the province. Number 2 is going to be the province of Saskatchewan itself. And third is going to be the government of Canada, the federal government. All right, let's start with insurance companies. Insurance companies offer 3 types of insurance policies in Saskatchewan. Number 1 is going to be individual policies. These are typically sold directly to you as a person. They're focused a lot on people coming out of professional schools like dentists, doctors, chiropractors, etc. But other business owners can buy them too, or anyone can really buy them. They're just really marketed towards people going into business or who may run their own, might be self-employed as a professional or other business owner. These are very technical plans. They will say that if you meet the definition of disability, that you get X amount of payment per month. They are the most technical, and I would strongly advise anyone with one of these plans to get legal advice way before you even go off work. If you even think you have something happening that could force you to go off work at some point in the future, get legal advice about your plan at that point so you can avoid a lot of the problems that we see people run into. All right, most of those plans will take you to age 65. They're great benefits. They usually cover you in your own occupation, but that's pretty much all. The key thing here is get help early with these plans. Number 2, the second type of insurance product in Saskatchewan is going to be group insurance plans for long-term disability. So if you're in a workplace and you have a group benefit plan that covers medical, dental, drugs, that kind of stuff, but often they will include long-term disability and short-term disability benefits as well. So check it out. If you have them within these group plans, they're very good benefits. They typically have a 2-step process where they will cover you for so long if you can't do your own occupation, usually 1 to 3 years. Then after that, they will only cover you if you can't do any occupation. Typically, group plans will pay between 60 to 80% of your pre-disability income, and they will last until age 65. Great benefits if you can get them. The final group here is really just a mixed bag. I call them special purpose insurance products. They're not technically long-term disability, but they're kind of close enough that I think you should be aware of them. The first is going to be creditor disability benefits. These are benefits that you will get that are attached to a mortgage, loan, Visa, credit card, that kind of thing. When you got them, you would have signed something or checked off a box to say yes. You pay, usually they're paid through your payment, so sometimes you just forget about them. But they're very good. If you get approved for those, you have to apply directly for those benefits. And if you get approved, they will pay the monthly the monthly payment that's due on your loan or mortgage. In some rare cases, they'll pay off the whole amount, the balance that's owing, but that's rare. Next type is called critical insurance. Critical illness insurance. This is a type of insurance where there's actually a list of medical conditions with a diagnosis. So at this point, diagnosis is all that we're focused on. So if you get diagnosed with this critical condition, you get this amount of a one-time lump sum payment. And it's just paid at one point as long as you survive 30 days. It's great because it helps you, it gives you a cash influx of money to get you by in the weeks and months after a critical illness. The third one here is called dismemberment insurance. Very similar to critical illness, except that it's focused on if you have one of these listed impairments or dismemberments in some cases, like you lose a finger, an arm, you lose an eye, lose function is usually what it's defined as. In those situations, they will pay out a one-time payment of money based on that if you have one of those listed kind of conditions. Our fourth one here is life insurance, self-explanatory. Most people know this. You have it on a person. If that person dies, their beneficiary gets a payout. Travel insurance is the last one. This is insurance that you can have that will pay for medical expenses if you're in other countries. A lot of times people have these. Sometimes you won't realize you have it because it's attached as a benefit to a credit card or other type of plan that you have. Like a lot of group plans may sometimes have travel on them. So just keep that in mind if you run into expenses while traveling for medical needs. Run into medical problems while traveling, not traveling to get medical treatment. It won't cover that. Okay, province of Saskatchewan is the second source of disability benefits. They pay long-term disability through 2 main programs. The first one is the Workers' Compensation Board of Saskatchewan, WCB, it's often referred to. The second one is Saskatchewan Assured Income for Disability, SAID is the next one. So let's take a quick look at both of these. First of all, with workers' compensation in Saskatchewan, they pay money, long-term benefits, monthly benefits to people who can't work because of a work-related injury or medical condition. Has to be work-related. Also, your employer has to be covered under the workers' compensation program in Saskatchewan. Most employers based in the province are, but that is something that has to be there. Now, once you're approved for these benefits, they're very good. They pay up to 90% of your net pre-disability income, and they can go to age 65. Now, there is a limit here. If your income is above around 95,000, once you get above that level, you still keep getting the same level of benefits as somebody with like a $95,000 salary. So that is one of the limitations here. If you're a high income earner, you are going to be limited, so you won't get 90% of your income. It's only 90% up to a $94,000 a year job, basically. That's pretty much it with these benefits. In addition, they also have other kind of associated things like medical benefits. They'll pay for devices, medications, and all these other types of things, as long as it's related to the work injury. Now, the second program here, SAID, is the overarching disability program for people in Saskatchewan. Anyone who's a resident can, in theory, qualify for this, but it's a little difficult to qualify because it has a financial requirement. So in addition to proving you have a certain level of disability as defined in the program, you must also prove that your family income is below a certain level. If you are above that level, then you won't qualify because you earn, quote unquote, earn too much to qualify. This is the only program that has this financial kind of limitation on it. And so keep that in mind when you're applying for benefits. All right, the third source of benefits is the Government of Canada. And they have several programs that I'll run through here quickly. The first one being Canada Pension Disability Benefits. This is pretty well known. Canada Pension Disability. It's attached to the Canada Pension Plan, so you have to have paid into the Canada Pension Plan by being a worker. If you qualify for Canada Pension Disability, you get paid around $1,400 a month as of 2022. That amount raises each year. It can go to age 65. Now, the key thing here is this is only for people who've paid into the Canada Pension Plan recently to the time they became unable to work because of disability. So if you are off work for a long period of time and then become disabled, good chance you won't qualify for these, even if you paid in for a number of years. So when you're looking at this, as you have to have gone off work while you were working. Like the reason you stopped working was disability, then this is what this is intended for. It's not intended for people who've been out of the workforce for other reasons and then get disabled. Now, there are some exceptions there. So if you don't qualify or you think you might not qualify, seek legal advice. There are a lot of exceptions there, and maybe things can be set up so that you are able to qualify. All right, the next one is the Employment Insurance Sickness Program. This is run through the federal government, through the Employment Insurance Program. You have to have paid in by being a worker, but what it provides is 15 weeks of about 55% of your pre-disability income. It'll cover you for a short period of time that will kind of hold you over until your long-term disability kicks in, or you can get CPP disability. But it's a good benefit, and it's easy to get. They don't really question it. As long as your doctor certifies that you can't do this work, then they'll accept that, whereas the other plans will look things over a lot more carefully. The next one is the disability tax credit. This is different than everything I've spoken to up to this point because it does not pay you a monthly benefit. That's a kind of a misnomer about this benefit. The disability tax credit gives you a tax credit that you can apply filing your taxes. You include this as a financial tax credit. It's around $8,000 and something. I don't know the exact number in 2022, and it changes. But you put that in as a tax credit, and it can result in you getting a refund on your taxes that are owed. You have to owe taxes in order, or have paid taxes in order to get a refund. It's not a benefit that is paid just for benefit's sake. It's a refund of taxes you've paid or need to pay. And so if you're not a taxpayer, like you're not paying in taxes every year, then it's not going to be any benefit to you. But it could be a benefit to people who are close to you, who live with you, or who you are financially dependent on. They can include the tax credit, your disability tax credit on their taxes, and they can get the refund. This last one is called the Canada Disability Benefit. It's not an active program yet, but it's been announced for over 2 years now. And I think at some point it will get implemented, but it has not been yet. We don't know all the details about it, but from what I gather so far, this program is intended for people who have a disability income below $20,000. So if you're already getting disability benefits and your total income for yourself is below $20,000, then this Canada Disability Benefit is meant to top you up to 19 or 20,000, somewhere in that range. That is the intent of it. If your disability benefits are already over $20,000 a year, then this is probably not going to apply to you. But again, we don't know the full details. Stay tuned to this channel as we'll give updates, or follow us on Facebook, is where I give a lot of updates about this program. All right, last but not least, let's talk about how you go about getting these benefits. The process is the same for all of them. You need to file an application with each individual insurance policy, plan, or government program, or whatever. So you need to get the application forms. They can be paper, they can sometimes be online, sometimes you can download them, sometimes you apply right through the website. Figure out the process for each one that you think you may qualify for, and you need to submit the application to them. Along with this, with all these programs, you have to submit a medical form. So ideally, if you're applying to more than one program, you should get all the medical forms, make an appointment with your doctor, and go in with the forms and have the doctor fill them out as part of that meeting. Don't just send them to your doctor. It's better for you to be there for that specific purpose with the doctor, and they can ask you questions and fill out the forms. That, in my experience, is the best way to do this. Once everything is sent in, each program will assign their own claim representative to review it. Each of them may have questions to you and will want more information in some situations, and you should get that to them. Eventually, they'll make their decisions. If you're applying to more than one, they'll be totally different, and they don't follow any kind of a predictable pattern. So once you get the decisions, approve or deny. If you're approved, great. If they deny you and you feel that it's improper, you can continue to appeal. And eventually, there's like a two-step appeal process with all of these. The first appeal is directly with the insurance company or the government agency that you're working for. They internally review it and decide whether to overturn it based on clarification from you or your doctor, and sometimes they will. If they don't, then it goes outside of their insurance company or government program to an outside decision maker who makes the final decision. That will sometimes be a judge. It can also be a tribunal or some type of a panel of external people, like an arbitrator who makes the final decision. And at that level, you really should be getting legal advice and help, because that is your last chance. And if you lose at that final decision with the external decision maker, that's it. There's no more appeals. Okay, my voice is running out here. That's all. I hope you enjoyed this. Please go ahead and like this video if you want updates in the future and get more content like this. And head over to our website and sign up for our email list, resolutelegal.ca, where you will get a weekly update from us. It's good. You'll get updates of these videos, other content we're doing, and also get invitations to exclusive events that we only offer to people on our newsletter list. I'll see you back here next time. I'm disability lawyer David Brannen. Take care.